cause homie, I'm safe.
It's your girl Markel, aka Kelly, aka Kelly Jews, and today you tune in with the couch. I got my cousin Jair here with me, and today we're just gonna be, having this little discussion on what's really easier: a girl approaching guys in a relationship or guys approaching girls in a relationship. So first off, come on, JT, why are you here today?
Now, if I'm right, this conversation point stemmed off of you and your mama talking about me and talking about my lack of shooting shots.
Straight up.
Because I said I don't like being rejected. And nowadays with the females in our generation, you don't know what you're going to get with people rejecting you. So I'd rather wait till I got a layup. If I got a layup and I know she's feeling me, it's a lot easier to talk to her.
Okay, respect. So what do you feel like you do that's like stopping them from being able to approach you?
Nothing. I just don't approach them.
Okay, so what's stopping you from approaching them then?
I think simply it's just the thought of, am I going to get rejected here? And I mean, for my guys out there, right, I know shooters shoot. I am a point guard. I pass. I make plays. If I'm throwing a lot for my boys, I got you. I'm not going to miss. But when it comes to actually having to do it for myself, I'm a layup kind of guy. Give me a fast break layup, open.
Okay, so what would it take for you to have confidence in that, 3 shot, that 3-pointer?
Nothing. I need to know 100% she liked me first.
Okay.
Here, let me not say 100. I need to know 85% she liked me first.
Okay, so what would tell you that she likes you?
She gonna have to let me know. Like plain and clear. Because, this generation, everything's a hint and she feeling you and she not really feeling you. So I'm gonna need to know for sure on her end of things that like you really feeling me some type of way.
Okay, so what should a girl do if she's really feeling you, but she's scared of rejection too?
Guys love compliments, right? We take compliments a lot different than girls take compliments. I think we're complimented a lot less than girls are complimented. So little things like that go a long way for us. You could compliment me and I'm gonna feel like the guy for the next month. I'm be like, nah, because she said I'm him. So, you know what I mean?
Okay, then, so she comes up to you. She's like, hey, Jair, you look really good today. That's going to make you be like, oh, she liked me, and I can shoot my 3-pointer.
No, probably not. But I love the compliment.
Okay, so then what she need to do after that? I already gave you a compliment, and I'm still afraid of rejection.
Make me feel comfortable in the fact that you feeling me, too. Like, because there's girlfriends in the world that'll give you a simple compliment if you look good. I got a haircut. Your haircut looks nice. Like, that's cool, right? I've been told I got good style. I appreciate that. Like, that's cool, but you're going to have to give me more than that. You got to make me comfortable enough to know, like, okay, she's feeling me like I'm feeling her.
Okay, so again, what's a way to make you feel comfortable knowing that I ain't finna get rejected doing so?
Typically for me, and I know for most guys in the world that got girls, and again, I'm not going to mess with your girl ever, but for most guys in the world that got girls, if y'all are friends, we don't really like the guy-friend dynamic, but, I'm typically more comfortable trying to get at one of my friends that I've known for a little bit. I've gotten to actually know who you are than I am to just go shoot a shot at a random stranger. I don't care to really think that you're attractive per se. Like, it's cool that you're attractive, but being attractive and I know you and I've gotten to actually talk to you, know your personalities, know sides of you, know how you flirt, know how you joke, things like that. And then typically as a guy, your eyes start to open as to see if she likes you or not. So.
Okay, so let me get this straight. From just back and forth conversation that we've been having over the last couple of days, you feel like us girls can do better at initiating because you guys always got to do it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let me ask you, what makes you think that boys are initiating more than girls?
It's the simple, if we're going to go structure, right? In the structure of it all, it's a guy's job to initiate. So in this generation, I think we're a little bit different than generations before us, where we kind of changed that up a little bit. But I'm not a shooter, right? So I can't make too much of a comment with this. But neither are y'all, right? How many girls can you actually walk up to and say, hey, have you shot your shot before? 95% of the girls are going to be like, I haven't, right? So to me, y'all just as scared as we are But y'all don't have no pressure to not be scared. Like, all the pressure's on us to not be scared and go say something. So
Okay. So JT, for my people out there, really make it really give them a definition. What is shooting your shot? What does that really look like for girls who don't really know, who are shy?
putting your feelings out there. Let somebody know that you think they're attractive. You want to get to know them better. You know, go a little bit deeper than whatever you guys are. If y'all are friends, if y'all are strangers, right? Asking someone out on a first date, asking someone for their number, things of that nature is shooting your shot.
Okay. And what should a girl know for the ones who are going to get rejected after they do this? What should they know?
It stings. It stings a little bit, but I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And that's why I'm a 100% shooter. It's all layups. I'm not taking no shot that I don't think I have a chance of making. Draymond said it best. I know I got a shot, but if I got a Steph Curry somewhere that I could get the rock to, I'm gonna get it to them.
Why is it that I feel like some girls, the 10%, I guess, in your as you know, who do take their shots, why is it that when we shoot our shot, then they want to act all weird, they want to act all shy? For instance, like say I go, can I please have your number? You give me your number, it'd be the same boys who be like, oh, they don't initiate enough. Then you start texting them, why you don't text back? Why it take forever? Why when we texting you kind of just going with the flow, but you ain't, making it interesting, making me want to get more entertaining. You ain't making it flirty for her enough. Like, why it be like that?
Because some of us just aren't as interesting as y'all conjure up in your heads. Y'all got this fantasy that we're these super different than we actually are people. Like, some of us are just laid back, and some of us just suck at texting, right? The truth is, girls, y'all do a lot more texting, responding to stuff than we do. Guys, I could not see you for 2 months, and I'm gonna see my boys, and we gonna chop it up just like I seen you yesterday. So we got different dynamics, guys and girls.
Okay, JT, let's give them a real scenario here, right? All right, so I go up to a man, I get his number. All right, I've been initiating, I send a couple texts. All right, he kind of sucks at responding, but he's made clear that, like, I ain't a good texter. All right, so he's not good at responding. Maybe he's laid back. Maybe I just stereotype him and be like, man, I expect that you be this kind of interesting when he's not that kind of interesting. You know what I'm saying? What else can I do then to get that side out of him, to make sure I'm still initiating in other areas? Because in that situation, maybe he's making you feel like, well, I don't think he messes with me, when it could be as simple as he just sucks at texting.
One, communication, right? And like upfront, outright communication. We do a lot of fluff in our generation, and that fluff don't help nobody, right? So straightforward communication and putting it out there that way is one. Two, you gotta let them get comfortable. A lot of us have more interesting sides and more layers to us. The onion, right? The more you get to know somebody, the more you get to peel. You get to learn different nuances of people. But until you really get that comfort zone, especially with shy guys, like you know how I am. I'm not just going to give everybody my everything when I first meet you. I'm typically kind of standoffish, a little weird. But until you get to know me, then you get the talkative, the fun, the interesting, the goofy, you don't get all that when you first meet me. You're kind of like, he's quiet and he seemed like he don't like nobody, and that's just not who I am.
Okay, so basically what you're telling me is it's like a puzzle piece that I got to put together. And once it's put together, that's when I can see the beauty of the creation. But until it's put together, I got to keep playing investigation with where the piece is supposed to go.
Yeah, basically. So welcome to our side of the world. Because this is a guy's everyday struggle.
Y'all feel like you build puzzles?
Every single day. Man, you don't ever know if a girl feeling you, even when she says she feeling you.
Okay, give me a scenario of what that looks like so my sisters out here can understand really what you mean.
Let me think.
Go ahead, take your time. It's okay, JT.
So I had one girl, the last female I talked to actually, and she wanted more physical touch, right? And with our beliefs as Christians, right? We don't. My version of physical touch and everybody else's version of physical touch just ain't gonna be the same kind of physical touch. So we kind of communicated through that, and we were running into some issues, right? She wanted more physical touch, and I am a touchy-feely person, but that's also after I know you. Like, I don't just care to hug on, hold hands with. I got sweaty hands, everybody. So again, I would rather put my arm around you, or not hold your head. Like, I don't know. It's just me, right? So things like that. It's not that I don't care to give you physical touch, but we got to find ways to do it. Now, my thing is I want to know you emotionally before I'm touching you, and hugging you, and kissing you, and doing all of that. I need to know who you are, right? So we're running into an issue of we did not have very fluid, natural conversations. And with us not having those natural conversations, it's hard for me to want to give you more or really know where you stand, right? For someone that you're really truly going to have a good relationship with, I feel like you have to have a naturalness to it. And if you don't have that naturalness, then I'm stuck questioning how does she really feel? Does she really feel me this way? She said she wants more physical touch. How do you want that physical touch? What am I not giving to you? Because some things you're not going to get from me. So, yeah.
Okay, so like in our Christian religion, how do you feel like, what is acceptable in your eyes on like physical touch? Like if a girl's like, man, I'm really lacking that. Once you get comfortable, you know, what are like the stages that you work up to that's like okay with you, basically, that you'd allow?
I mean, the truth be told, right, I probably will never do nothing further than kissing until I'm married, right? And that's just me. Okay. But I think also I've learned with the physical touch side of things is sometimes it's just having my hand on your shoulder. Sometimes it's just sitting close enough to you where our legs are rubbing on each other where you could feel that I'm there. Sometimes it's walking and accidentally walking diagonal instead of straight where you get a little shoulder bump. Like those little things give off that feeling of like, oh, okay, he's there. I feel like you're present. So learning what physical touch is and the needs of it, it's not always sexual or all that side of things that when you hear physical touch, you naturally think of.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You know, physical connection isn't all about intimacy necessarily or sexual stuff. It could be as simple as just, like you said, you being in my presence or whatever. So that makes a lot of sense what you're saying. You're saying like physical connection, like sometimes it has to stem naturally, and when you don't feel like it's happening naturally and you're kind of like constantly having to communicate the same things, or they're not getting it, they're not wanting to go with the flow, it could kind of make it uncomfortable for you. It can kind of make you feel like, you know, if you really liked me, why can't, you know, we connect on a natural level? Why does it always have to feel forced or like awkward? And then it starts like feeling questions in your head. So like I totally understand that. I feel like with boys, one thing about it, you know, we talk about communication, right? I think boys suck at communication, and a lot of them like to say, oh well, we grew up not feeling like we could talk about our feelings. And that's real. That traditionally is how things go. But for a girl, it's hard to communicate with a boy who doesn't really want to talk to you about his feelings, or even if it's as simple as, you know what, I could be a great texter, I could be a great everything, but I have a guard up because so many people have hurt me. Boys don't say that. You gotta constantly put the puzzle piece together. Like, I think he's been hurt, and I'm probably right. But I don't want to put it together. I want him to tell me that he's hurt so I could be like, that's how I respect you better, to make you feel like it's natural. You feel me? So like, how can we fix that conflict?
I think it's the beauty of a relationship, right? I think in any relationship, in any talking stage that you have with someone, you got to decide, is it worth it? Is it worth dealing with the puzzle pieces? Is it worth waiting to see if there's more? Is it worth breaking down walls and breaking down barriers, or waiting until they let those walls and barriers down? Is it worth it, right? I think that's the first thing. Two, as a guy that kind of grew up in that kind of structure of not really getting that freedom to talk always until I got older, and the same man that raised me also gave me that flip side of it of, I'm sorry because I taught you wrong. So having that freedom and learning that has kind of given me a space where I feel a little bit more comfortable to open up, but it's also still hard, like, because the way you grow up, it mentally, it can hold weight. But I think the first thing, especially with women that we run into a lot as guys, is opening up and sharing your emotions and sharing how you feel, and the reaction to your emotion is or almost like, I'm surprised that you have emotion, right? When we start to feel like it's a joke to you, or you don't understand what we're saying, or you're judging me for what I feel or how, because our feelings aren't always right. Like, it's just as simple as that. There's a lot of feelings that I have on a daily that are not right. But the understanding it and not being critical and critiquing and or using it against me later down the line, right? Because typically, and this is just arguments in general, this isn't guy girl, but it's just arguments. The first thing we do when we argue is we try to, well, you did. And the first time you use that against me, especially as a guy that's had a wall up before, now my walls go right back up, right? There's nothing you can tell me now that I'm not gonna wall back up, because if I tell you this, or if I'm vulnerable with you, or I'm transparent with you and I'm letting this out, and I think you'll use it as a weapon later, I'm not gonna let you use it as a weapon. It's a natural guy instinct, right? We protect. So not only will I protect you, but I gotta protect me. And the second that I feel like you're a weapon to me and not a place of comfort, then I'm putting those walls back up and pushing you away. And that's where you get a lot of that distance and that tension and that question of why is it? And some guys are just harder to crack, right? Some guys I never had my dad come back to me and say that it's okay to cry, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to have those feelings. And luckily for me, I got that, right? So having that validation and that switch and change of heart, and my uncle, who your dad, that I say is my dad, but having that switch, it gave me that freedom to be able to, oh, okay, I can be emotional, I can say how I feel, I can. And I still have guards up just because of who people are. Like, people suck sometimes in the easiest, the lightest way of saying it.
That's deep. That's real. And that really just sheds light onto that situation, because I don't think girls really know that. Like, I don't think, like, when girls say, like, oh, like, I don't think that they know that, like, to you, that may come off as dismissing. To boys, period, it comes off as a dismiss, or when you're like, go pray about it, or oh, I'm sorry, you know, like, they don't know that it comes off as dismissive. Sometimes you just do not know what to say. Do you have an example of a time where you were, it doesn't even have to be in a relationship with a female, it could be like your mom, it could be your cousin, it could be me, it could be whoever, but do you have an example of when you feel like you were sharing your feelings and they dismissed you?
Yeah, I got one. So I work a pretty tough job, and right now we short. And at this job, I've got a pretty good friend over there, and we were having a conversation one day, and I said, look, I just want to sit out here with you for a little bit. For those that don't know, I'm supervisor at my job, so naturally you don't get to share a lot of how you're feeling about stuff. You got to kind of stay neutral in a lot of instances. And as an employee, when you're not a boss, you could get high, you could get low when you're not in leadership. But in leadership, there's a different responsibility of staying neutral. When there's a storm, when it's a good day, you learn to stay neutral, because you don't know what's going to happen there, right? And your emotions, your attitude, your thoughts towards things typically affect others. So in leadership, I've learned that sometimes you got to take stuff to the chin and just kind of deal with it. But that day I was having a tough day. We had, I want to say, 2 employees leaving, but it was one of them that I was really close to and a really good employee. So with that all going on, I was a little bit more emotional, and I just needed a second. So I went out during their break, and I was sitting, and I'm just like, look, I just want a second to just kind of relax. We weren't talking, we weren't doing nothing, but I'm sitting down, right, and got like a little quiet tear starts to fall on me, and I couldn't stop it, which I typically don't cry in front of people. So the comfort that I had right around you to be able to be that vulnerable, and I'm sitting in the car, a little tear starting to drop, and she looks at me and she goes, what's wrong with you? So, like, my first thought is like, okay, she cares to know what's going on. So I'm like, I told her the situation is what's going on. And I'm turned the other way because I want you to see me crying again. That's one of those walls, right? Like, I already feel embarrassed. I'm crying in your car, but I don't want you seeing me crying. And she starts cracking up, and instantly I'm like, yo, like, never again. It won't happen again. And luckily for us, we're close enough friends where I could go back to her and say, nah, this really hurt me. Like, this is what happened. This is how I felt about this situation. And she was able to apologize. Like, I didn't even view it that way or know that. But the second someone laugh at you and you going through something for real, or because throughout the conversation, once we actually started talking about what was going on, she asked me, she said, I don't even know why this is such a big deal to you. And I guess the truth is, right, at a job and in leadership, you lose people all the time, right? You have people go out, you have people come in. So, to someone who's not in that position, that's a really good question, right? I don't even know why this is such a big deal to you. You see people leave and you see people come in all the time. But it's the understanding part of it, right? It's you don't understand how much that person meant to me. And sometimes it's just like in our situation, we had a lot of people going out at once. I'm questioning what we're going to do next. And I got to be prepared to answer the questions of the other people who stayed, right? So thinking of all of that, and naturally as a guy, after you laugh, now I have no answer for you. No more responses for you. I've now shut down. The walls are back up. I'm now in back out mode. But we got to talk through that. So me and her are good. We're in a pretty good place where we can still communicate that. But for most guys, that's your last chance. I'm not reopening back up to you. So things like that, it gets you.
Okay, that totally makes sense. Thank you for sharing that with us. So what do you think in these situations then, that a girl, how should they respond to these situations to make you feel like you're heard? If you don't want to hear "oh" or "I'm sorry" or "dang bro" or "I'm sorry," anything like that, then what should they say?
I think the simplest answer is, how would you want somebody to respond to you in that situation, right? And then you have to understand there's a flip side of it, right? Is I'm gonna use us two, right? I'm the more sensitive of us two, and you handle things a lot differently than I handle things. In situations where you first don't know somebody, you're typically gonna make a mistake, right? You might say something that you would typically in that situation want to hear, and they're gonna look at you crazy, or they're gonna misunderstand your perspective or your viewpoint in it. But the more you get to know somebody, you start to learn how to tailor things to help be comforting in those situations and not a hindrance to it. And sometimes it's just listening. Sometimes it's, I might say, okay, so what do you think? And your answer is, look, I don't have an answer for you right now. And sometimes for a lot of guys, really, it's, I just want to talk to you. I just want to know that there's somewhere I could go that's safe, that I could communicate what I'm going through without getting an answer. Guys are wired to get an answer, right? We're wired to find a solution. We're wired to fix it. I don't want to say girls not so much. The girls like to ask for solutions sometimes, right? Like y'all go to your friends to communicate how to get a solution. A guy's gonna go to himself and start making equations to figure out how to get there. Like that's just the difference between us. But we don't, I guess, care for the solution because more times than not, I know what the solution is, right? I know I needed more people. I know that without the people I had, I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm able to do with what I have. Like that's the givens. We got that part. I know that people come and people go. I know if I really want to communicate to that person still, I could have reached out, got your number, etc. Right? Like there's things that I already knew about it, but it didn't make the situation less emotional. If that makes sense.
Yes, that does make sense. I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So basically what I've heard you say so far tonight is that girls should shoot their shot more, whatever that looks like. They should initiate more because 9 times out of 10, their shot might make it into the hoop, but they never take it. So they need to shoot their shots more. And you've admitted that boys could be a hard case to crack, and it feels like you're constantly putting puzzle pieces together. But a girl should be willing, if like they know or they want it to work. If they're like, man, I really wanted to work with him, they could be willing to be a little more patient to put the puzzle pieces together, because sometimes it's just a wall that he needs help like breaking down. And we've discussed, well, how do you break that? And you've talked about you could break it with physical connection, not touching and messing with each other's boundaries. But you've talked about like having like a natural connection where it's not all about just sexual and all of that, but you feel like you could bond to us naturally. That can help break the walls. When it comes to you communicating, we could be more understanding, we could be less dismissive, to where that could also help bring the walls down, to where y'all could start to be like, this is the real me that you didn't see when you very first met me. And then you think more relationships could be successful. But most of us girls do not like to initiate because we fear rejection. So we end up skipping that whole entire process, and maybe in the midst of it, making them feel like we've dismissed how they feel, making them feel like they constantly have to initiate with us, making them feel like they have so much to say to us but can't say it because we haven't made ourselves like a safe zone so far. Is that what you've mentioned to me basically? I just want to make sure we're all caught up.
For the most part, in comfort, right? Make me feel comfortable. Make me feel welcomed. Make me feel like you're someone that no matter what I tell you, because I'm going to say stuff that's wrong. I'm human, right? No matter what I tell you, I need to know that it's not going to be make or break for what I said or what I did that first time. That grace of having an understanding of I'm going to make a mistake, but you're still going to be there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me ask you, do you think men are capable of, if us girls say like in that situation with your friend, we laugh at it because we don't know how much that means to you. That's the fact of the matter. We don't know how. I think that's a big problem with girls. We don't know how bad a situation is to a man because most men, they're strong, you know, like that's the presentation they give off, like I'm strong, nothing phases me. Or when even the emotional ones, you know, who do show tears, you know, they're not the ones to talk all about it, like the root, the source of it, they don't talk about it. All they show is like the tears on their face. And most girls, things that would hurt them, I'm not thinking would hurt you because we're very vocal about how it hurt us, why it hurt us, that whether we tell you or not, we like you probably already know we're hurt because it's something that most girls vocalize. Whereas with boys, it's not something they vocalize. To where if it was another girl, I totally understand why she's crying because girls cry about that all the time. Their friends leaving them, feeling abandoned, all of that. But with boys, it's not something that we tend to see. But it's not necessarily something we think that you shouldn't feel. It's just something that we're not used to. So say you have a girl who's like, sorry, I'm not used to boys, you know, coming to me about that, to know how to even react to the situation. Do you think a boy is capable of giving them more chances to where you could view that mistake that she made? Like she just made a little bit of a mistake, but next time she got me.
It's a good question, right? And the truth is, speaking on my behalf, yes, absolutely. And in my sense with my friend, like, we did have to have a conversation and reconcile that. But then you have people that didn't grow up the same way I did, right? So in that sense, that's where you have to understand it might just take longer. Like, guys as loyal beings in the sense of if you do find a good guy, a lot of the times they're going to be for you. You can hurt me, and I'm still going to be for you. I'm still going to want to protect you. I'm still going to want to be there for you. Even if I put a wall back up, it might just take me longer to put that wall back down. When I say comfort, I really mean like there's a feeling that you get where it's like almost like home, right? That sense of, okay, this person, knowing someone's not going to go. Knowing someone's not going to go away. Knowing someone's not going to think of you less or feel like, oh my gosh, he just, like, those emotions are what we fear the most because that's what we grow up in, right? A lot of us are taught men don't cry. Why are you crying? Man, you soft. Like that's the natural stigma. That's what we hear all the time. So when we see even glimpses of that, it puts you back into that shell of like, whoa, that's the wrong person. So having that feeling of, even when I'm not Superman, she's going to love me for Clark Kent. You know what I mean?
Okay, that totally makes sense. So what do you think you fellas could do for us women better that y'all suck at?
Communicating and letting you know that it hurt, right? And that's not the hardest thing. Is typically when we wall back up, we wall back up. I'm not going to tell you that I wall back up. You're going to say, how you doing today the next day? And you're going to wonder why I just said I'm good or I'm fine. And then you looking at me crazy like, that's not the response I got yesterday. like what just happened in a day? And that's where we have to be able to communicate our side of things better.
Okay, so when boys do that, because boys do that a lot, I'm happy that you brought that up. Because a lot of boys, they just be tripping. Like, they don't communicate it. So you like, I heard him. are bad, but they don't even tell you that. And then they be mad like, she hurts me all the time when I don't know that I'm hurting you. So in that situation in particular, when boys don't do that, a girl don't know. So like, do you think that boys are thinking in their minds like, I hope she stays down for me. I hope that she keeps dealing with it. When you know full well you're not gonna bring your wall down, you don't want to share with her what's going on, but you want her to stay and deal with your attitude. Do you think a lot of boys think that?
No. No, I think, and that's the truth. No, I don't think we think that. I think most of us, once you put that wall, it's almost a place of numbness, right? It's the most comfortable place that I've learned to be in throughout my life is you're fine. You're okay. It wasn't that serious. It didn't hurt that bad. Man, you're good. Rub some dirt on it, right? Like, that's the place we get into.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in a place like that and you're in a mindset like that, it's a numbness, right? It doesn't matter if you're happy about it or if that really hurt you to a point where I want to cry and I want to let it out. I'm numb. I'm not going to let you know how I'm feeling about it. I'm just dealing with it so that I could keep going, right? That's the mindset of it. I'm just trying to keep going. I'm trying to keep going until it's better. Okay, so when guys get into that numb state, no, we're really not thinking about y'all. It's selfish. It really is. And my thought isn't, dang, I hope she keeps dealing with me. Now, some of us have different mindsets where I find a really good girl, and I'm like, I hope that she stays around for all of this. But there's a good majority of us that's like, if she goes, she goes, and it'll be on to the next one. If she stays, I'm glad she stayed. And it's not even we'll work this out. It's almost a place of I'm numb until you put me back into that place where I'm able to re-release, right? So that's where it's tricky.
That makes sense. So in these situations, if a girl like really loves them, or even if you ain't even got to the love stage, but you like, I really care about him, you feel like to be supportive, like they just, keep kind of dealing with it until you can get to that place where you don't constantly feel like you have to be in safe mode anymore.
So the answer to that, right, is prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming from a Christian perspective, right? Is I'm gonna pray for you, and then I'm gonna communicate where you're wrong still. Okay? Because even though a guy is numb, even though a guy is hurting, right, that doesn't mean you stop telling someone the truth. And this is where a lot of guys get wrong, right? It's because once I put that wall up, I don't care what you say, it's going to hit that wall and go back. The good thing about guys is it's almost like y'all graffiti the wall, right? When you're saying stuff, instead of it bouncing off the wall and going out to wherever and I forget it forever, you putting marks on this wall. And when this wall does come down, I could remember some of the things you put on that wall. So like for me, I'll use my mom as an example. There's a lot of things my mom told me in life that while I had a wall up, I'm not trying to hear it. I don't really care, right? And I know she loves me. And I know that was my home, that was my comfort. And I could talk to my mom about a lot of those things. But because of the male perspective and the male viewpoint of how I was taught, it didn't matter what she said. So my mom would keep saying stuff, and it was almost tattooing, graffiti in that wall to the place where once that wall did come down and I was able to see, okay, she's still there. Like, she's still waiting right outside that wall for me. Then I could start remembering some of those. Oh yeah, I remember she did say this. I remember she did call me out on that. And then I start changing some of the things I was doing to, okay, my bad, I heard you. And sometimes as a girl, and it's unfortunate, is y'all got to go through a great deal of patience and almost hurting, waiting for guys to grow up and get past the things that other people have said and stigmas that we think we got to fit into that we shouldn't have to. So, yeah.
So, after hearing all of this, it's very clear, because I'm sure you're definitely not the only man who thinks like this. It's very clear that men think a lot of times that girls hurt them a lot and we don't even realize it. Or sometimes it's not that we hurt them, but they're hurting. And when they come to us, we don't create a safe place for them. We don't create a place where they feel like they could be themselves, whether it's your boyfriend, whether it's your family, whether it's someone you're interested in. We don't create that safe space for them. And then I'm hearing, like, from the girl's perspective, is like, we don't know about it because the communication on the man's side is trash, and they can have all these walls up. They could be hurting, they could be pissed, they could be anything. The list can go on and on and on, but you ain't ever gonna know about that until they feel in a safe mode or I don't gotta fight mode anymore, to where they could pull the wall down and be like, you know what, this is wrong with me. Where obviously we're acknowledging both sides can use work, but we're seeing that that's like the dilemma. I feel like with a girl, patience. With a boy, communication. I feel like we've addressed that those are two big issues. So, what we came here for, right, was to discuss and get to the nitty gritty on how it's easier for a man to approach a woman than a woman to approach a man. And after we just had all that discussion about how they act, the walls being up, their attitudes, they fight mode, all of this, their miscommunication, I really want you to drive home tonight, JT. How it's easier for a man to approach a girl when you're battling fight mode all the time.
So listen, I'm gonna put it this simply, okay? Men are taught as little kids, or here, let me not say all men, right? Most men, especially men with good mamas, are taught how to treat a woman. You're taught how to be kind. You're taught how to be gentle. Now, are we all kind and gentle? Do we all know how to treat a woman? No. But you're taught these things. Like, we are groomed to learn these things. We're groomed to learn that you initiate, right? I'm supposed to come up to you, and I'm supposed to make my pitch, basically, right? Shoot my shot. But for you guys, you're taught to how a man's supposed to treat you. You're taught to wait until he initiates it and actually shows interest in you. Am I right?
True, yes.
Okay. So how many women are taught how to treat a man? It's a small amount. So with that being said, and you guys being taught to wait, when you shoot your shot, I believe it's so much easier because we don't expect that, right? It's flattering as a man to get a compliment from a woman. Like, it makes I said my whole month earlier, right? You can compliment me on how I looked or say, man, you're handsome or something like that, and I'm holding on to, like, you can't nobody else tell me nothing, right? So as a woman, if you're in my wheelhouse, right, and you come up to me and you say, hey, I think you're attractive, can I have your number? You're not getting a no from me. Like, you're not. It's just that simple. But as a man to a woman, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but most women's mindset is like, there's another. Or you could think, in my case, right, I'm shorter, he's too short, or he's too this, or he's too, and I could find something else. So it's like a 50-50 for a man. It's like a 85% shot for a woman. Like, men just love the flattery. We appreciate the fact that, oh, I'm thought of by someone. Oh, she went out of her way to talk to me today. That's what's up. And your boldness, because we understand that boldness of actually having to ask the girl, right? So you doing it, and I know that that's not your normal. No, I'm not shooting you down. I respect your boldness.
Okay, and that's real. So I feel like here you say, like, men are often flattered. I feel like that's the issue that we girls think about all the time. You are right. We are taught, at the end of the day, this is how a man's supposed to treat you. Well, at the end of the day, we know that flattery for men goes a long way sometimes for some of them, where sometimes they too flattered, you know? A lot of girls, they fear is not the initiation part. You know, we want you to feel good. We want you to feel like you're that guy. We want you to feel like you're important, that you were worth talking to today. But we also don't want to be, you know, a toy, an object for men to play around with. And a lot of boys, which I hope that you can admit to, like using women as their sex toy. And I know girls do the same thing, but I think it is more common and more commonly seen by men to use women because the flattery gets the best of them. They're too flattered. They're too like, I'm just this guy, to where they could use you. So yeah, you're like, there's an 85% chance that you're gonna get a number, whereas not for you. But I mean, is it really worth it? Yeah, I got your number, but all I was wanted for was my body, not my time, not my worth. And then I'm feeling like I'm nothing, where I made you feel like you were the guy.
Okay, I'll put it this simply. Where are your standards? That's my question, is where is your standards, right? Any woman that puts herself in that predicament, you had a choice somewhere along the way. right? So you saying that I flattered him, I made him feel special. I won that initial reaction where I got his number and we started talking, but I don't know your intentions. Well, if you have standards and you make me live up to your standards, then it shouldn't be a matter of a guy using you, right? Because a guy that wants to use you ain't waiting. A guy that wants to use you isn't trying to actually date you, isn't trying to actually be with you, isn't trying to do the things that you actually have to do for the long haul, right? They don't want to do the work. I got a goal. When I'm trying to get in your pants, it's supposed to be a quick process. If you're making me work that hard, there's someone else that's not going to make me work as hard. Okay? So it's where your standards are at. If you allow a man to do that, well, they will. But if you have standards set and it's this is who I am, this is how I'm walking, you could be with me or you could go your own way, then it's a choice. And now that's a process of it hurts sometimes to see how many men will take the choice of leaving. But I think it's worth it once you find the one that stays.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, say I'm a girl, I got a lot of standards. So when I approach boys and I figure out they're not willing to wait, all they want is to get in my pants or whatever, I still have my standards to be like, not me, maybe Shantae, but it won't be me. Alright, I got a lot of standards, right? To not do that, okay? But where do you think boys have sympathy for girls when they're like, I don't want to try anymore? Because the 12 times I did initiate, that's all they wanted was to get in my pants. No, I didn't grant them that wish, but that's all they wanted. And I don't want to keep wasting my time doing that because then I don't feel like I'm worth it sometimes. I don't feel like I was valued, even though we got another set of boys who's like, why doesn't she initiate anymore?
I mean, I think it's the issue of both sides, right? Good men, good women. And you run into a lot of bad people in this world that have bad intentions. And this is where, on my side of things, right, I've ran into enough people with bad intentions where I don't really want to shoot unless I know your intentions for me are good. Right? So I could understand it from you guys' side where it's, I'm tired of trying to do this and I keep running into guys with bad intentions. So it's a battle on both sides.
Okay, so I like that. We're starting to realize it's like a 50-50 situation.
No, it's still easier on your side. I'm sorry.
Wait, okay. I got more to say real quick about this though. Like, for instance, you said, going back to what you said earlier, you like this is the 50-50 chance, you know, a girl might be like, with a boy, there's someone better, someone who's taller, someone who's this, that. Do you not think a girl's like, would go through this with boys where they're like, you could lose more weight, there's someone skinnier, you don't have a big butt, is not to my liking, she has little boobies, you don't think they battle the same issue?
So I'm not gonna lie, we have those thought processes, right? The same way y'all got, it's not materialistic, but physical traits that y'all want, right? We got physical traits that we want. The difference is a guy understands the pressure of having to talk to a female, right? When you have to walk up to a female and you don't know if you better get shot down or not, when a female approaches you and she don't know whether she's going to get shot down or not, you probably still give her your number. Even if you don't think it's going to be for the long haul. Now, let me tell you something about a special woman, right? If she's really special, I might not have thought so much of her at the beginning. Like, man, that's not my type. That's not what I'm used to. And then I start getting to know you, and I'm like, yo, hold up. Who is this? Shawty got me feeling different, right? So, again, we're talking about the initial, right? Actually shooting the shot. For a guy, it's like, I'm shooting a 3 with a hand in my face, and I know that there's somebody else that could be shooting this shot. For a girl, it's like shooting a free throw. I don't know how else to... It's shooting a free throw. You should be expecting to make the shot with most men.
Okay, so this is what I hear you saying. I hear you saying that when a girl shoots her shot, whether she's going to make it or not, a dude is nice enough to people please, to basically be like, I'm going to make her feel valued anyway, even though she ugly.
Because we know how hard it is.
Whereas a boy, you feel like girls are basically kind of mean and are just able to be like, Nah, I'm good. I'm not even going to give you my number to make you feel validated.
Because most of y'all don't know how hard it is. Or, and look, I'll give you one of my experiences. I asked this girl for a number. I built up my courage. And this is recent, okay? I built up my courage. I asked her for a number. She said, yes, man, I felt like that guy. I felt so special. I texted her. She texted me back twice and then didn't respond again. You wasted my time. A guy's not going to do that to you. Most guys are not going to do that to you. Well, let me correct that. Most guys are not going to do that.
Okay, so you just think that men are a little more open-minded to be like, I can see where this goes, whereas women are already like, the looks ain't given, not very open-minded people.
Right. But it's, again, I don't think this is like a knock on women. I think it's the way y'all been trained and how you're supposed to. You don't understand, most of y'all don't understand what it's like to have to ask a guy out. Almost every man in the world knows what it's like to ask a woman out. We know the pressure of having to ask a woman out and not knowing if she's going to say yes or not. So that's where we have a different understanding of that, you know?
So I think after having this conversation with you, I think me and I'm sure other ladies out there can understand like, oh, okay, traditionally, I'll give this to you. Traditionally, yeah, I will say that dudes, I'm going to say, initiate maybe more. That I'm going to give to you after tonight. That dudes initiate maybe more so than girls, or they tend to be able to, you know, be like, yo, you look real cute today. The dress is gorgeous on you. More so than a girl is going to come up to you and be like, I like your fit and I like your shoes. All right, so I'll give that to you. Dudes initiate more. I think the only part where I'm still like, is how easy it is to initiate, though, because in my eyes, I'm like, if it was that easy for a girl, I think they would do it. Do you know how many fine men is out there that I just wish I could have the courage to go get them? If it was that easy, you go, I would have done it because you're so cute. I mean, I'm just keeping it a buck with you. Now, I think with the girl, kind of what I mentioned to you, you just fear your body being used as a object instead of being valued. And with a girl, you always want to feel valued for who you are, not for what your body could do. And I think boys, a lot of them in their brains, they feel like their calling is to populate, whether they intend to do that or not. That's their calling in their eyes, a lot of them. So I think for a girl, that pressure of being used for your body is scary, and most dudes are not used for their body. Therefore, I think it makes it, if we ain't gonna say harder, at least equal. You're like, man, she's not optimistic, she's not open-minded. We like, man, he's not open-minded to getting to know me for me. He only took my number to be like, yo, where you at? Let me link up with you.
So I'm gonna put it like this, okay? When it comes to shooting the shot, right? If your worry is not making the shot, your only worry is what is his intentions after, you still got a leg up on us. Because our worry is, am I going to make this shot or am I going to get you? No. You ain't never thought about that from a guy telling you, ew, no, have you?
Repeat that.
Imagine walking up to a girl and saying, hey, I think you're really attractive. I just wanted to have your number. And she looks at you and says, ew, no. That's the most disrespectful thing that could ever happen to anyone ever. Thank God it hasn't happened to me. I would never talk to another woman again. You gonna have to come shoot your shot to me, right? Because that would hurt, right? How many women do you actually think have to worry about that going to talk to a man? You don't. Your worry is, what are his intentions after I get his number? You already done passed, am I gonna get his number? Yeah, I'm gonna get his number. Shoot, I'm cute. Okay, that's my point. So again, when it comes to shooting the shot, you've got a higher percentage of making that shot than I do. As a woman, you have a lot more options than I do. It's just the truth of the matter, right? Like, more men are expected to go say something. So if you're a woman and you say something, you've got options. How many times as a guy do you expect a woman to come talk to you? You don't. So you either stay alone or you go talk to one. It ain't no easy road for us.
Okay. So I think that is a good point that you make right there. When you put it that way, that is a good point that you make right there. All right, JT, you bringing up some good points. Now I'm thinking, all right, fine. Say I go up to a boy and I'm like, I'm cute and I know I'm about to make this shot, right? Whereas you go up to a girl and you're like, I don't know if I'll make the shot or not. It's a 50-50 chance. Okay, so you're feeling more pressure than me. I make the shot though, and he's like, yeah, you can have my number. And then again, I figure out it was only to use me. Did I really make the shot? Because I didn't make the shot in his heart, you know? I didn't make a shot that's like, I really want to get to know her. He's just like, everyone's body is body. Was I really attractive? I think I'm attractive. But was I really attractive to him, or was my body?
Listen, I'm going to put it like this. Every make ain't a good make. Every fish you catch ain't a keeper. So yeah, you still made the shot. Okay. You just made the shot maybe on a hoop that you didn't really want to shoot at. And it happens like that. Sometimes you're going to make a shot and then you're like, I did not want to make that shot. That's the wrong person.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Is it better to be like, I shot my shot and it didn't go in and I dodged a bullet? Or, ooh, my shot went in, but it was an awful shot? Which is worse?
I think shot went in. Like, hold up. No, I think shot missed, right? Because if you miss a shot, there's a sting to missing a shot, right? Making a shot and saying, oh, he sucked, at least you got the confidence to shoot at the next one, right? Because if you miss enough times, and listen, I'll use the perspective as a coach from my times past, right? If I have a kid and he can't make a shot, I'm not going to keep telling you to shoot after 5 misses, right? Hey, pass the ball to your teammates, let your teammates get a few shots, and then we'll get back to you. Okay? You wait for a little bit because it stings to keep missing shots. Now, when you the star player on the team and you make a shot, whether it was a good shot or not, I made it. I'll go shoot another one. I made it. I'll go shoot another one. And sometimes you'll make a shot and you're going to be like, not that guy. He's got to go. But you have confidence to shoot again. The kid that keeps missing, naturally, mentally, you stop having confidence to keep shooting.
Yeah, that might be the case. In my eyes, I'm thinking like going to your, you said like hooking a fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like every fish you get ain't good. All right, so say, yeah, I'm reeling them up. They rotten though. They give me food poisoning. They just terrible fish. Like, why do I want to keep searching when I know they all food poisoning?
Because they're not all food poisoning. Which one's worse? Hooking a fish and bringing one in? And throwing a line out there and you can't ever find nothing?
I think they can both be equal in some ways depending on who the person is because one person, he's like, I keep fishing, I ain't caught fish yet. That doesn't mean that there ain't a fish out there, you looking at the wrong place. Versus another person who's like, I'm catching fish, but I get sick each time because they horrible. Like, at the end of the day, we both in the same boat. We keep finding losers. Both of us.
No, one of us is a loser and one of us is a winner and we just find the wrong thing. You just gotta go to a different spot in the lake. You might have to change what fish you're fishing for, but at least you're hooking them.
You just gotta go to a different location where the fish is at.
Where do I know where the fish is at?
Well, going back to the Christian world, alright? We pray. We use discernment. I think, here's the thing, right? For a lot of boys, right? I hope this touches a boy out there. Even if I just get a couple viewers, I hope it touches. This is just real. If no one ever told you, if you don't get nothing else out of this conversation, JT, my fellas out here, they want to act like they hard. They want to act like they tough. They act like they could carry the world on their shoulders. And I get it. We've covered why they do that. But I think part of that comes from, though, your own insecurities. Part of it comes from admitting, I don't love myself all the time enough. I don't think that I'm that guy. I don't think that I am enough. Girls, a lot of them, they too conceited, where you gotta beat them up. Some of them, I'm just gonna be honest, some of them, they need beatings because, like, they too conceited. They think they too cute. They think they too much of the stuff. And that's why they're more, in my opinion, coming from your examples, that's why I think they're able to make shots more. Because I'm confident. And a lot of dudes, they're attracted to confidence. You don't even gotta be cute. But the fact that you was confident, it made me like it. The fact that you was like, shut up, it make them feel good. Like, oh, okay. All right, she a little dominant, right? That makes dudes feel good, you know? So the fact that I make it in the hoop all the time, I'm thinking it comes from the fact that we confident, more confident. But if my fellas were more confident, I think you'd make a shot. Going back to basketball, right? If you confident, they tend to make the shot more. But when you all nervous, like, I'm not gonna make it, it's always gonna miss. And I think my fellas gotta admit that. Yeah, you hard. Yeah, you tough. Yeah, y'all do a good job at not showing your weaknesses. But on the inside, sounds like you're insecure. You don't feel confident in your own skin sometimes. My fellas don't feel that they look good. And you gotta feel like you look good. When you're fishing in the sea, you can't say there ain't no fish out here. Just because one ain't bait. You gotta have confidence. Like, I know they finna bite on this hook. Cause it's just so dope. Like, ain't no better one in the sea right now but me. And when you have that confidence, boom, bada bing.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Where does that confidence come from?
What God says about you. When he says you were made in his image. When he says you could do all things through Christ that strengthens you. When he says that you are worthy. When he says that a man who findeth a wife findeth him a good thing.
Okay.
That's where it comes.
Now let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
For people that don't believe what we believe, what makes you so confident? Because there's some confident females out there that don't believe nothing about God. They just think they're fine.
Okay.
What makes her so confident?
Makes her so confident? I think she values herself. Going back to standards. When you were like, standards are important. I have standards for myself. When I look at myself in the mirror, I have a standard that's like, you never tear yourself down. You never think of yourself less. Even if the world thinks of you and says that you are less than what you are, you're not. That's a standard that I have for myself. I think those are standards girls develop for themselves, you know? Like, I think they develop standards. Like, I'm going to wake up and do my hair because I'm so cute. And, you know, I think that a lot of boys, I'm going to wake up and look like a scrub.
Can I tell you my thought process on it?
Go ahead, JT. This is why you here.
Alright, so here's my thought process on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of girls think they fine. Here, let me put it like this, okay? Because this has been a popular question that I've asked recently.
Mm-hmm.
I go, what do you think you are 1 out of 10? And as you already know about me, I don't think everybody in the world's a 10, right? 10s is the rarely attractive people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give Michael B. Jordan a nod for the guy side of things. And listen, truth be told, I ain't no Michael B. Jordan. I ain't never gonna tell you I'm a 10. I'm not Michael B. Jordan. But you ask a woman what she is 1 out of 10, she gonna say 10 every time. 11, 100, broke your scale.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't ever gonna hear a woman go, I think I'm a 6. Like, you're not. But if you ask a guy, you get a different answer. And I really think that's because you're used to getting compliments. Like, yeah, I think I'm fine. Why? Because I wake up in the morning and someone goes, man, you look nice in that dress. Because I could go outside and someone's going to go, girl, look at your hair. Oh my gosh. As a guy, you walk outside looking fly and people will look at you like, all right, cool. You might get, I like your shoes. That's a pretty common one. But outside of that, you ain't getting no love for, dang, bro, you look good today. Shoot, like, I see you, bro. We not doing that. That's gay. Like, we don't get that. And it's rare that a woman's going to walk up to you and be like, man, you look good. Like, I see you. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, no, I think that confidence also stems from compliments and the love that's given. And you have friends that will, shoot, you post something on Instagram, what happens? Your girl's in the chat real quick. Girl, you look so fine. Oh, she a cutie. Heart eyes, heart emoji. Like, that's what y'all comments look like. Go look at one of the guys' comments that you follow on Instagram. You might get, I see you, bro. It ain't the same.
Okay. That's true, right? I agree with that. Now, I think, like, where I come from is, like, yeah, maybe we get more compliments, but most of our compliments is coming from each other. It's not coming from boys. Most of the compliments I done got in life have come from girls, not no man.
So what does that create, though?
It could create confidence.
Confidence. Why? Because I'm fine. Why? Because every time I post, somebody telling me I'm fine. I'm fine.
My girls, yeah, they telling me I look good. We a community that's building each other up. When the brothers be the ones who were like, Brody, that's gay. We didn't say it was gay. Y'all did.
Nah, y'all do say it's gay. That's part of what created it. Is y'all do say it's gay. But no, I think that's part of the stigma too, though, right? I completely agree with you with the insecurities. So many of us have a lot of insecurities that we got walled up, hidden behind. We show y'all Superman all the time. We always got the cape on, and a lot of us feel like less than Clark Kent wanting to hide in a corner. We feel like the new Hulk. Like, shoot, I don't even want to go to the fight. Like, that's how a lot of us feel, true. Like, hiding. But that's where I'm like, you have to understand that side of things. And sometimes, for the females out there in the world, right? A yes every once in a while, it allows you to, oh, okay, I can shoot another shot. Oh, okay, I got this. Even when you're not confident, I got this. Like, look, I made one. Does it make it easier? Nah. No, not at all. It doesn't. But
oh shoot, I don't think it's easy on our behalf either.
I don't think it's easy on anybody's behalf. I just think it's easier for y'all.
Easier is crazy. It does. Like, I don't know. I think you'd be surprised knowing how many women out there are so insecure, but be the same ones who blow up in your face like, I am fine. They be the same ones who rejected you like, he ain't on my level, when really they ain't on yours. They be the same ones who do that. They be the same girls fighting with other girls because they want to make a point that they're cute because they don't really believe it. A lot of times that's the case, and a lot of times is why we don't shoot our shots, because it's scary. A lot of times, yeah, we shoot our shot, but at the end we view it as a miss. Like, what good is a throw to your wide receiver when they didn't take it to the touchdown? Like, what's the win? Like, it's just whack. But I think that women be in the same boat, but they're just better at expressing confidence than our boys. And again, confidence is respectable by a lot of boys. They like your confidence. They be like, that is hard. It's one of the biggest compliments you get is a girl's boldness. A boy, if you're not expressing your confidence, if you're nervous, I'm nervous too. If you come up to me acting awkward, and yeah, we need to give you grace, but like,
some of us are just awkward, man. Like, what you want?
You to tell me that then? Like, hey, I'm just a little nervous, so I'm acting a little awkward, and then even that, I'm like, oh, when he's around me, he's a little awkward. I can take the awkward out of you. Like, that's when we get there. Like, I can take the awkward out of him.
Okay.
For me, like, it just
You fishing for the confident ones, the ones that are on the surface. The good dudes typically are tucked away a little bit, a little bit harder to find. A little nervous, a little quiet, and y'all don't want nervous and quiet. Y'all want bold, and he's out there. He knows what he is. He knows what he's worth. We not all that guy.
I'm straight. Me personally, I can't speak for all the sisters out there, but when I go fishing, man, I'm fishing for whatever fish is gonna complement my colors. Whatever fish is gonna help me become a better fisher. Like, I'm fishing for that fish. It don't matter if you're shy. It don't matter if you a nerd. It don't matter if you any of that. If you cute, you cute. Straight up. To me, attractiveness is important. Does he have to be cute? He doesn't have to be fine. But I don't know about, like, super ugly, you know. Like,
well, men, you better not be ugly.
Above a 5.
Alright, that's not too bad.
So maybe, like, 5.5 to 10.
Okay, that's not
too bad. If you below a 5, me personally, I wouldn't want you to be with me either if you thought I was below a 5.
Alright, fair.
That's insane. If I'm not a 6 or above, give it a shot. 5 or below, gotta go.
Okay.
Okay, that's my standpoint. So I've had a very interesting talk, and I have learned a lot from you. So thank you for your vulnerability in this conversation. I think I heard what I wanted to know. I was just getting clarity for me, some sisters out there, for what happens when we are bold and the dudes suck, regardless of if you try or not, or regardless if they bad boys or not. Now, is there something that you would like to say? Any questions you'd like to ask before we end this? Any last words for my people out here? Any last words for me? Any last words that you could just leave us off with?
For all my point guards out there, just keep passing. One day your shot's gonna be there. That's all I gotta say.
And what I want to tell all of y'all is for all my people who feel like they fishing in the lake and they ain't catching no fish, get a new reel. Get some confidence. Know that one day you're gonna catch a fish. Especially if you're a good person, you're gonna catch a fish. And for all my people who are constantly catching fishes and they rotten and they telling you at least you caught one,
Search for a different fish.
throw them back. Throw them back, and don't ever forget that your reel is still a good hooker. You feel me? All right? That's what I want to leave all my people with today. Thank you so much for tuning in with us in the couch, and we
It's time for us to get off the couch.
are finna get off of the couch. Have a good day.